Right, quick 5-minute video. Why do they wear them? Because normal people copy each other, and fashion is a normal people concept. And also they like to do this a lot. So I don't know why these things, but I'm sure someone normal knows it. Yeah. What else? So yeah, normal people like to go on runs, and those types of people wear those Nogi trousers. And what can I talk about? Huge repertoire of things. I'm not able to do capitalistic marketing ads, but I can talk about like a coach, which is slightly rare, and those exist in Europe but not in England. Apparently, never seen one. But these are good to talk about. Those Stavros 969, etc. Those with the camper van conversion, bed pickup truck bed conversions into camping camper van. These and the Western slab back or flat back versus the Japanese ridge line on the katana and the wakizashi, and the Nihonto, the Japanese blades and swords have this slightly almost like house angle, but very slight, not like a huge angle, very small, tiny angle. So they have like this center ridge midline, and then these two. It's very specific, as Japanese are very specific on detail. The Western example would be, say, Germany, although that is not in Western Europe, it's in Central Europe, but the word Westerns gets thrown about ridiculously. It almost means European, so whatever. It's so vague that it's almost lost meaning. But anyway, so-called Western example would be German engineering of Japanese attention to detail. But yeah, there's the Western flat back, and it's just a flat sort of slab, which is interesting in its own right, to be honest, versus the Japanese center ridge line with the slight, tiny sloping sides on the back of the swords, single-edged swords. So there's a small repertoire of things. Another one would be this. So it seems that looks like something to notice. So can talk about all those things: double deckers, lorries, pickup trucks, rally cars, WMA, Western martial arts, and what else? Oh, holes in Western philosophy. Western philosophy never talks about direct experience, or it talks about free will and truth. It's in a certain box, which I suppose, I don't know, it is what it is, but it locks itself into a certain box. But it never talks about direct experience for some reason. I don't know why. And it tends to focus on this sort of English, what do they call, English empiricism from, say, the 1700s and the Enlightenment. The main two focuses are the ancient Greek philosophy in Western philosophy and the Enlightenment philosophy. They're really the two. There's the medieval Catholic ones like Thomas Aquinas and his peers seem to totally get ignored, although he was a Westerner and he did philosophy, so I don't understand how they ignore him. I don't understand how that is Western philosophy, but they just completely ignore the medieval philosophers, and it's either the ancient Greek or the Enlightenment period, but just totally ignore. So that's very odd that they ignore that, and they completely ignore metaphysics as well because of this overfocus on this English empiricism in the 1700s rough approximate period of sort of 1700s Enlightenment period. So they don't talk about direct experience. They don't mention medieval Western philosophers and Catholic medieval philosophers like Aquinas and his peer academics, philosophers. For some reason, I can just notice gaps in things, and I just notice that no one's talking about, and I don't even know why. Absolutely, there's a bias against Eastern philosophy in Western philosophy. They just never talk about it. I don't know why. Anyway, whatever. So those are some holes. They don't talk about direct experience, and they over-focus on those two, the ancient Greek and the Enlightenment period, and just completely ignore the medieval Western philosophy. For whatever reason, best known to themselves, and then they regurgitate, so there's this thing of like, you can regurgitate to a very high level and make it sound sophisticated, but it's just, Hume, Kant, Wittgenstein, whatever, that you can regurgitate to a very high level, but it's just, they weren't omnipotent gods, they were humans, and humans can be fallible and can make mistakes, even if they're very smart humans. So there is this almost scientism, kind of New Age religion, kind of worship because of this sort of atheistic secularism, that people sort of worship them as if they're gods, and they are smart, very, very smart humans, but they are not infallible, they are not omnipotent, perfect. They were capable of making mistakes too. And I just think it's very odd. It's a bit like when people quote, say you've got religious fundamentalists who quote the Bible and say the word of God, it's like the word of Hume or the word of Wittgenstein. It's like, and again, yes, it's good to think, self-thought, independent thinking, be able to think for yourself rather than just, yes, read a very complicated book, and I'm sure you can regurgitate it to a very high level and whatever, but it doesn't really show any independent thinking, in my opinion. So they weren't gods, they were humans, so I don't really understand. Although in Eastern philosophy they were, because the individual is, and I know we can go down that road, but just for the layman's terms, just for everyday language. Anyway, that's the end of that. So I can talk about loads of stuff and try and get donations on Patreon if anyone, whatever, I don't know. Anyway, alright, so just a rerun, those are the subjects, and also quantum physics of ghosts and blah blah blah, and normal people wearing the Nogi, and that's a wrap up for today, I think. Okay.